relationship between our countries. We also want state-level representatives to visit the UK too, and invitations have been extended by my High Commissioner during his most recent visit to Bangalore. The goal in our trade relationship set by the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and Prime Minister Cameron in 2010 is to double bilateral trade by 2015. And investment is growing both ways. The UK is the third largest investor in India. India is now the fifth largest investor in the UK. And there are a number of factors which contribute to our growing relationship. We have common interests, a peaceful, prosperous and just world, and a rules-based international order. We share a deep commitment to democracy, human rights, pluralism and inclusive development. We have a shared history, values and language. We have similar bureaucracies and frequently the same sense of humor, most oftenly around cricket, but certainly around the World Cup in Brazil. If anybody has read a newspaper this morning or even had a quick look, you'll see the Amul Milk cartoon. I'm not going to put a picture up because I don't want any Uruguayans chasing me around the room. India, of course, isn't playing in the World Cup, and neither is the England team anymore, as they decided to return home early to watch Wimbledon, which, of course, is very popular with Indian tourists, and you're all invited. Please do come. So, my Prime Minister's visited India 3 times since taking office in 2010, and it was his first international visit was to Bangalore, as you may know. So, what about that as an introduction to a corridor? Well, the background to our perspective on the corridor is that the UK was really delighted to be invited by the Indian High Commissioner to London to consider partnering on this Indian idea. So the idea of the corridor is to go further than just boosting specific commercial clusters by also targeting investment in socio and economic support networks such as housing, education, skills, training, healthcare. So this is the start of a plan for a strategic infrastructure investment concentrated in key districts along this 1,000-kilometer corridor. Now, exactly where the nodes will be developed is clearly for states to decide, and there will be, I'm sure, a long debate on that in the future. But ministers in both countries see support to this corridor as a flagship partnership. Ministers from the UK have met with ministers in Delhi and at the Department for Industrial Policy Promotion and have engaged in discussions up to the point of the feasibility study, which is currently underway, actually being delivered by a French company. So we look forward to the outcome of that in the near future. So far, discussions with the government in Delhi, here in Karnataka, and in Maharashtra have demonstrated a shared desire to work together, and we're developing a partnership. This is a long-term venture. So we will continue our interest in the corridor. And I have visited many of the cities that are likely to be somewhere along the corridor, such as Hubli, Dharwad, and the fast-growing city of Belgaum, where there is a special economic zone on aerospace that we're particularly interested in partnering on and working together. There may be other cities that will benefit as spurs outside of the corridor that I've also visited. So if you were looking as far as Gulbarga, Bagalkot, or possibly even as far as Bidar, all of those cities could end up benefiting from a really well-developed corridor. So, well, I'm here to tell you that UK companies would be a good fit to work along that corridor and infrastructure more generally. If there's a focus on low carbon and sustainable development, UK companies can help. So we would like to help make this corridor a livable space. Both manufacturing and services are important to the corridor development. So environmental concerns may lead to more focus in manufacturing in energy-efficient sectors, such as high-tech electronics, advanced engineering, and the aerospace sector. And UK companies have recognized strengths in integrated planning, sustainable technology, energy efficiency, and advanced manufacturing. Some of those companies are based here in Bangalore, and I'm not going to plug one name over another. because the others will then be after me. But you know that household names, huge companies, and they're doing work sometimes in India, but often they're doing some work outside of India. So our objective is to help them to become more present in India and do more work in India, as they're actually based here, many of them. UK companies are already winning business on the Delhi-Mumbai corridor, so it would make sense to see that they could do so on the Chennai to Bangalore, Bangalore-Mumbai corridor. London is known as the finance capital of the world, so UK expertise on public-private partnerships is well known on financing, and other services will be important. So we complement the capabilities of Indian and other countries, Japan, France, and we'd like to work together. The Bangalore-Mumbai corridor is not at as an advanced stage as the Chennai corridor. So there's very little we can say today until we see the feasibility study, but the ideas are there about the type of corridor I think that people want to see. I'm very much looking forward to hearing from Mr. Baligar from the state perspective. I think that's important. So on infrastructure, I've mentioned how the UK has real strength, but India has a $1 trillion plan to build new infrastructure, which creates really exciting opportunities to enter into partnerships. The private sector is playing a vital role and a growing role in this area. I'd just like to spend a minute now on engineering. The UK has world-leading capabilities in areas that the corridor may focus on: aerospace, automotive, and the full range of engineering disciplines, from advanced materials to a range of manufacturing technologies. And I've noticed in the last couple of years being here that sometimes people say, well, the UK really doesn't make anything anymore. So I'm here to tackle that misconception. So if you'll bear with me for 30 seconds, I'm going to throw a couple of figures at you, just to change that misconception. Well, the UK is the 6th largest manufacturing sector in the world, UK. So we still make things. It accounts for 12% of our economy, roughly the same as the US and France. Manufacturing contributes disproportionately to the overall levels of productivity, and generating over 53% of the UK's export goods. And I know manufacturing is really important in India. Your Prime Minister has made absolutely clear it's a top priority. The UK is home to Europe's largest aerospace industry, second only in the world to the US. Half of the world's commercial aircraft have wings manufactured in the UK. Half of them. There's a supply chain of over 2,500 aerospace companies. More than 40 companies manufacture vehicles, the whole range of trucks, vans, cars. And the UK produces over 1.5 million vehicles annually, 83% of cars, and 57% of commercial vehicles are exported. Perhaps closer to home, considering Force India, 8 of the 11 Formula One teams are based in the UK. Now, the link to Bangalore is strong. On the front row, we have Mr. Saxena. Only yesterday, on 26th of June, an aerospace supply chain manufacturer, Naismith Group, was launched. It's just the latest top-quality British company to set up in business-friendly Bangalore. We're delighted that we can be here. We think Karnataka is a fantastic place for business. I'm trying to attract more businesses to come out here. I hope if you're in the aerospace business, I'll see you in Farnborough in the week of the 14th of July. If not, Aerospace India in February next year. So I'll close there really just by saying that it's not just me saying it, but it's UNCTAD, the World Investment Report 2013, confirms that the UK's strong position as a top global destination for foreign direct investment. And the UK economy is now growing faster than any other major economy. So I think what I've tried to do here is to set out the range of our ambition, the range of our partnership with India. We understand that all of the decisions are not going to be with foreign countries. It's going to be a partnership, and it'll be between states. It'll be with the centre, and hopefully we will have a part to play in that, and we would be delighted to do this. We think it's an exciting development, and thanks again once more to BCIC for the invitation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for an excellent presentation, focusing about the Bangalore-Mumbai Industrial Corridor. We are hopeful that this corridor takes the momentum as early as possible. May I now request Mr. V.P. Baligar, Chairman and Managing Director of KSIIDC, Government of Karnataka, to address the gathering. Mr. V.P. Baligar, please.
Mr. Harish, Mr. Yamamoto, Mr. Felton, and friends. The Government of India has been changing its strategy of industrialization depending on the need and the experience. I remember when I was in 90s, I was Commissioner of Industries. In 80s and 90s, it was growth centers. You are aware that we developed growth center at Dharwad, Hassan, like that all over the country. We had growth centers with an area of about 2,000 acres. In the last decade, it was special economic zones. We realized that growth centers also had many problems, especially while dealing with exports. So you are aware that that was the strategy in the last decade. Now the strategy is towards the corridors, development of industrial corridors, as well as having the national investment and manufacturing zones. So I'll touch both these issues. Why corridors? Why this change of strategy? I would state about four reasons for this. One is the share of manufacturing sector is low in India and it is slowing down. Two, our infrastructure quality is very poor. Third is difficulties in doing business or ease of doing business is low in India, and our unemployment rate is going up, as well as employability of our students who are coming out of the colleges is also very low. Just to give you some numbers, the share of manufacturing in GDP, as per the International Standard Industrial Classification, is only about 15%. BCIC in their report has said that our industrial production is about 24%. Yes, overall industrial is about 24%, but if you come to as per the International Standard Industrial Classification, it's only about 15%. And the growth rate of industrial production has been, it was about, on an average between 94 and 2014, it was about 6.72. Highest was almost 20% in November 2006, and lowest in minus 7.2 in February 2009. Last 1 year, it was minus 2.5%, and fortunately in last April, 2 months ago, it was about plus 3.4. Coming to the infrastructure, the quality of infrastructure, as per the report of the World Bank, I just want to compare internationally. I have 5 minutes more because I am starting 5 minutes early, so I would like to touch first 5 minutes on general issues. Singapore, you take port, roads, and overall infrastructure quality. Out of 7, the highest is 7, lowest is 1. As far as port is concerned, Singapore quality is at 6.8. China, we can compare ourselves with China, is about 4.5. Japan, our friends from Japan are here, it is 5.2, and India is 4.2. So we are one of the lowest in quality of port infrastructure. Coming to the roads, today I just came from Sahakar Nagar, which is about 6 kilometers from here. It took almost 45 minutes to travel 6 kilometers. The road index, quality index, is 6.6 out of 7 in Singapore. In China, it is 4.4. Japan, it is 6. And India, it is just 3.4. We are in the lower 50%. Coming to overall infrastructure quality. In Singapore, it is 6.6 out of 7. China, it is 4.1. Japan, 6. And India is 3.6. We just crossed 50% of quality. So we have very poor infrastructure. Therefore, there is a need to improve the infrastructure drastically. Coming to ease of doing business, I'm sure all of you have experienced this. It's not so easy to do business in India. The ranking of the countries is as follows. Singapore is on top, number 1. Of course, people say it's difficult to compare with Singapore, just like Bangalore. But compared to China, of course, overall, it's still, China is not all that easy to do business. It's 96. Japan is 27 out of 189 countries. In India, our ranking is 134. We are 134 out of 189. A country like Rwanda in Africa has moved up to the position of 32. So one side we have Singapore, other side we have Rwanda, which are better than us. Coming to the employment, the rate of unemployment is about 7.6, and employability is very, very poor. So we need this strategy of developing corridors to tackle these issues. So objectives, more or less, is known. We would like to accelerate regional economic integration and development to provide strong basis for industrial activity between Chennai, Bangalore, and Mumbai, if you come to this particular corridor, and also provide a strong transport and industrial connectivity and optimal utilization of resources. This is the map of the Pride Corridor. You have, starting with Chennai, and then Bangalore, Chitradurga, and goes on to Mumbai. You see the districts covered in this. We have, of course, to begin with Chennai, Tiruvallur, Kanchipuram, Vellore, Krishnagiri, that is in Tamil Nadu, and then Bangalore, Kolar, Tumkur, Chitradurga. We have 4 districts covered up to Chitradurga, and of course, as you move up, many more districts are covered. I'll just tell you what we have been doing. The Government of India has a high-level committee to monitor this. We have Industrial Policy and Promotion Department to monitor this, including the Prime Minister's Office, very recently also. Even in May, the Principal Secretary to then Prime Minister also reviewed the progress of this project in Chennai. So there's high priority given to this corridor. I'm talking of Chennai, Bangalore corridor up to Chitradurga. Even at the Government of Karnataka level, we have given high priority for this. The nodal department is, of course, Commerce and Industries, and nodal agency is my institution, that is Karnataka State Industrial and Infrastructure Development Corporation. The status of this project is that PwC has already been appointed by JICA and Government of India for preparation of preliminary report for phase 1. Preliminary report has already been submitted by consultants. We have reviewed that. Government of India has reviewed, PMO has reviewed, and even the states have reviewed that. Now, consultants, Nippon Koei and PwC, have been appointed for the preparation of comprehensive integrated master plan. This is very important because they are going into minute details. This is where we need the input from BCIC and other industrial bodies, that what kind of industrial activities you want along the corridor, and especially the NIMZ that is being developed in Tumkur. So Tumkur is the first node identified in Karnataka. I'll be dealing more about it. Maybe you people will be more interested in that particular zone. The priority projects in Karnataka for this, under this CBCIC, is a peripheral ring road of about 65 kilometers covering northern hemisphere of Bangalore city. You know that northern hemisphere, the movement is little difficult, not little, it's highly difficult to move around. And then we also would like to cover many of the towns around Bangalore with a good connectivity. We call it a satellite town ring road. This is about 204 kilometers. It connects major satellite towns like Ramnagara, Kanakpura, Anekal, Hoskote, Devanahalli, Dodbalapura, Nelamangala, and Magadi. So all the towns around Bangalore will be connected. In addition to that, you know how difficult it is to go through any towns nowadays. Therefore, we do need a ring road around the towns. So we have also planned individual town ring roads, that is is about 24 kilometers around every city. All those 8 cities, 8 towns will have ring roads. Then coming to connectivity between Chennai and Bangalore. Of course, from Chitradurga to Bangalore is well connected. The capacity of existing highways. We have 2 highways connecting Chennai, one via Hosur and the other one is via Kolar. So these 2 highways will be saturated by about 2018. In the next 4-5 years, this will be saturated. Therefore, you need a special expressway between Chennai and Bangalore. That has already been planned. NHAI has planned this 4-lane, 270-kilometer expressway. It goes via Hoskote to Sriperumbudur. Land acquisition is on. Of course, the new Land Acquisition Act may hinder the progress to some extent, but we'll overcome that and go ahead with the land acquisition and development of this expressway. We do need to get some clearances from the Ministry of Environment and Forest because some forest area is also proposed to be acquired. Coming to rail, we have dedicated